Hello once again, race fans. Welcome back to another episode of the Dropping the Hammer Racing Hour here on the Grueling Truth Where Legends Speak. I'm Alex Gray along here with Michael Klein. We got, I'd say, a lot of stuff to talk about in this week's edition. But first, we'll go ahead and quickly review the Auto Club races that took place this past weekend. First, we got the Xfinity Series. Kind of a shocker for some, and I think this silenced quite a lot of critics, for sure. Harrison Burton, and that getting the win there at Auto Club, his first Xfinity win, got called up this season to drive for Joe Gibbs in the Xfinity Series. Fun fact, last time the Xfinity Series ran on a leap day, this race was on leap day, February 29th, his uncle, Ward Burton, ended up winning. So I think that's there's something that has to do with the Burtons and leap days. Riley Herbst getting second as well. So a couple guys that a lot of people didn't really have faith in. So I wanted your thoughts, especially Michael, on Harrison Burton's win.
Well, I had a lot of faith in Burton from the get-go. You know, I know Kyle Busch has been kind of critical of him, but I never thought that was really founded. You know, it always seemed to me like in the right stuff he would be able to do good, and it just kind of seems like he and the truck didn't mesh well. So I just kind of knew going to Xfinity, which are more similar to the ARCA and K&N cars that he had so much success in, I kind of assumed he was going to start kind of pick up where he left off, I guess, with that. And he definitely proved it this past weekend. Honestly, I was way more surprised with Riley Herbst coming in second. I will say this. I wasn't very critical of Burton. I was critical of Riley Herbst. I didn't necessarily think he was ready for a full-time Xfinity ride. But, hey, he's kind of starting to prove us wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I won't lie. I was a little concerned with Burton being already brought up to an Xfinity ride, but I thought he had a lot of talent. I thought, just watching him in ARCA, I went, this guy's going to be something special. And he reconfirmed that to me this past weekend. So I'm very impressed with Burton's performance. Riley Herbst definitely surprised me. Ryan Sieg with a fourth-place finish. He's off to a terrific start this season. And Brandon Jones also had – what's that?
Yeah, he keeps this up. I mean, we're not going to be talking about him being an underdog anymore. We're going to be talking about him being a championship contender.
Certainly. I agree with that. And, of course, Brandon Jones, who dominated the first two stages, he had a really good race going on, too. And, unfortunately, a cut tire ended his day kind of short. So, really a good performance overall by Joe Gibbs Racing's Xfinity program. So that's it for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Now we'll move over to the Auto Club 400 for the NASCAR Cup Series. Oh, that's weird. I don't know why it popped. Didn't. Oh, that's weird. I'm trying to pull up the results, and it's not even there. That's so weird. Okay. Well, so I would say that this was kind of interesting. Alex Bowman getting the win already, and plus he's in a contract year, so this is a big deal for him. He looked like he had a shot to win at Vegas the week before until that late caution came out. And then Bowman came out. He really, really made a huge statement, dominated the race, getting his second career Cup win. I must ask you this, Michael. Is Hendrick Motorsports back?
Oh, yeah. I mean, honestly, it's probably a little too early to say so, but just from what we've seen so far, I would definitely say they're back.
Yeah, I agree. A little early, but Hendrick looks like Hendrick again. Jimmy Johnson even. Wow. Johnson's actually been performing pretty decently as well, I would say. Looking at the results here. Bowman won. Then it was Kyle and Kurt Busch, second and third. Chase Elliott, fourth. Brad Keselowski, fifth. Danny Hamlin, sixth. Jimmy Johnson, seventh. Eric Almirola, Kevin Harvick, Eric Jones running at the top 10. Tyler Reddick getting an 11th place finish. He's definitely showing some good strides early on in the season. Joey Logano, Matt Benedetto. So some good runs by some of these guys. And a not so good start of the season for rookie Christopher Bell. We'll get to that here in a moment. Or I guess we can hop into that now. It's only been 3 races. Obviously, Christopher Bell not off to the best of starts. Do you think he'll get this turned around here soon?
I think so. It's just kind of hard to tell, He's with a new team, new series, and I think it's a advantage he has over the other rookies is that at least some of these other guys have some limited cup experience, which he doesn't have. And I would say Levine family probably isn't up there with RCR and Stuart Haas, so that kind of puts them at a disadvantage. Knowing Christopher Bell, though, he knows how to adapt and overcome, so I think he's eventually going to get this turned around. As long as he can get a car that will be able to stay together, which, it seems like they have been. I mean, I know he dropped out at Auto Club, but that was just kind of a freak deal.
Yeah,
I think he'll be able to get this turned around.
All righty. Yeah, early in the season, it's only been 3 races. Personally, I think Christopher Bell's going to get it turned around here eventually. You are right on that part. You make a really valid point. Tyler Reddick and Cole Custer, and even John Hurt and Nemechek to some extent, have all had cup experience. So I do think that Bell is going to just simply learn and adapt, and I think he will continue to improve. So would you say, was the Auto Club race a good race?
Honestly, I didn't think so. The first stage was pretty good. After that, it kind of seemed to plateau from there.
Yeah.
I know it seems to kind of be an unpopular opinion. I just couldn't find much enjoyment out of that race.
Alrighty. Yeah, I thought the race was all right overall. Obviously, you kind of had the dominance by Alex Bowman. Also reading this from Adam Stern. NASCAR was the most watched sporting event last Sunday on U.S. TV by a wide margin, as the Cup Series race in Southern California drew out the number 2 event, a Lakers-Pelicans NBA matchup, by more than 2 million viewers. NASCAR on Fox getting 4.8 million viewers. NBA, that Lakers-Pelicans game, only getting 2.7 million. So, really strong race.
Yeah, but NASCAR's dying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, NASCAR's dying. Sure. Yeah, you're totally right on that. I know somebody keeps retweeting that and just keeps putting the meme that I think originated from a meme of SpongeBob acting like a chicken or whatever, and it had him saying, it just altered each letter, lowercase and uppercase, about whatever it was, mocking somebody. So it's like mocking that. People going,
yeah, it's not even just that anymore. Now people are actually using other characters now.
Oh, is that, yeah.
Yeah, like they'll use 5 for the S's and whatever. Yeah, it just makes it look so much more funny.
Oh, God, I can believe it.
oh, man, dude. They just pulled up the rookie standings right now during practice. Out of the 6 rookies, Christopher Bell is 5th.
Ooh.
The only driver behind him, it looks like, is Joey Gase.
Whew. Yeah, that's a rough start, I'm not going to lie. But,
yeah.
Ouch. Okay. Who's leading the rookie points, by the way? I didn't catch that.
I think I said Tyler Reddick was.
Makes sense. I personally believe Reddick's going to outperform Dillon. Nothing against Dillon. I just think Reddick he's really good.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Right. Cole Custer just went up to 6th.
Cole Custer? All right. Yep.
Yeah.
Right now.
It's kind of a surprise because they haven't been doing all that well this year.
Yeah. Then again, it is early on in the season, and I think somebody made a good point. I think by the 600 in May, I think that's about where we can figure out who is where and go from there.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm just going to enjoy seeing some of these guys doing well while I can, just because knowing that's when we're going to figure out how good they really are.
Yeah. Especially with a guy like Ryan Blaney, and off to a terrific start in the points league. Alex Bowman's also off to a good start. The question is, can they continue that going and make a potential? Because it is way too early to say, oh, man, these guys going to championship. You never know. Kyle Busch or Denny Hamlin can come out of nowhere, of course, win the next several races, win the championship. You never know. So, again, we're heading into the fourth race of the season. So, we're out in Phoenix. We'll be reviewing those races here at the end of our show. But let's move on to the news now because, okay, there's a lot to take in. So let's start with the whole single lug nut ordeal. NASCAR announced that, how there's like 5, lug nuts that you usually take off to put a new tire on. Starting next year with the next-gen car, it will now be just a single lug nut like some of the other motorsports do. And we talked about how there was a Twitter war on NASCAR. It reignited right after. Some people are going, why is NASCAR doing this and stuff like that? So I just kind of wanted your take on it, and I'll give my take on it afterwards.
Yeah, so as a former over-the-wall crew member, honestly, I'm not necessarily a huge fan of it. I like the challenge of having the 5 lug nuts. At the same time, I also get this isn't going to change the package more. This isn't going to change the racing any. Honestly, it's not going to make that much of a difference to people watching. So why would you just say, I'm going to stop watching because of this? Now, you don't have to agree with everything NASCAR does, but honestly, in the grand scheme of things, this isn't that big a deal.
It really isn't. I mean, I think they even said it's only going to shave off, half a second of pit stops. That's it. It's not going to make much of a difference. I don't think this is too big of a deal. I get where you're coming from in terms of your standpoint of how they can bring a challenge, but I also understand the decision that NASCAR made here, and you don't have to like it, but to stop watching NASCAR over something as little as this, I won't lie, it's really silly. I'm looking forward to seeing, as you said, it's not really going to change much, but I'm obviously looking forward to seeing how different pit stops are going to be next season. Because, again, gosh, NASCAR is literally changing everything. Some may be good, some may be bad, but we're just going to have to wait and see. So,
yeah, I mean, when they say next gen, they literally mean this is the next gen of NASCAR. This is like almost a new era. I mean, you got a new car, you got new schedule, which we'll get into later. I mean, everything's changing.
Yeah. And I think they need to. Times change. This year is pretty much the last year of old NASCAR, the NASCAR that we've always known. Things are going to change next year. And let's face it, people hate change. Nobody likes change. But I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to welcome it. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what NASCAR will look like 2, 5, 8, even a decade from now with all these changes being made. So this is the next gen. So I think a lot of people are really excited about 2021 and beyond. And we're only 3 races into 2020. So this is really hyped up. So, yeah, you mentioned the schedule. A big announcement came out. We won't know for another month or so. Actually, yeah, in about a month we'll probably know about the schedule for next year. Because I think April 1st is like the deadline. But, excuse me. So the big news came out the other day that the Busch Clash will be ran the Tuesday night before the Daytona 500 instead of that Saturday afternoon. So it would be like 8 days before. It's now going to be about 5 days before the 500. So Speed Week.
And it will be on the road course.
Yep, it will be on the road course, the same course that the Rolex 24 ran on. I actually made an interesting analogy. I actually put in a super chat on the weekly podcast on YouTube. Shout out to those guys. And I made the analogy that, it kind of feels like way back when Riverside opened up the season in like the 70s and very early 80s. I just kind of made that interesting take there. So that's what it made me think about. I know it's different because obviously the Clash is talked about for a few days and that's it. So I think NASCAR is thinking of new ways that they can make this race interesting. So under the lights, on the road course, like a miniature Rolex 24 kind of. So, and one last detail, they will run the Gen 6 cars. So that will be the official or unofficial last Gen 6 race. They will run the 2020 cars instead of the next gen cars. So
really,
we will. Yeah, that's.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, that was reported. I'll have to pull that up here, see if I can find it. But they did.
I guess it makes sense because might as well tear them up while you can.
Yeah, exactly. Especially at first, it's going to cost a lot for these teams to get these new cars, the new chassis, new everything. So I think it makes the best sense to just go, you know what? Have fun, beat the crap out of each other with these cars one last time, just like we did in this year's Clash, and have at it. So I think that's good. I think that's a good decision. Obviously, I'm just looking forward to seeing how that's going to go. So basically, Speed Week has changed up. So if I get this down correct, Tuesday's the Clash, Wednesday will be the dual races, and then they'll have
Wednesday is qualifying.
Yeah, that's right. It was qualifying, and then they'll have. Oh God, I'm trying to remember the. Do you remember what the Speed Week schedule was? Because it just escaped my mind.
All right, so Tuesday's going to be the Clash.
Right.
Wednesday's going to be qualifying.
Okay.
Thursday's still going to be the duels. Friday's going to be the truck race. Saturday's going to be the ARCA race and then the Xfinity race. And the Cup race is, of course, on Sunday.
Okay. All right, just got that mixed up a little bit. Thank you so much.
No
there
problem.
You go. All right, so there you have it. There's the new Speed Week schedule for 2021, which makes me excited because I'm going to do my best to go down to Florida next February for that week, for the Daytona 500, because I want to see the next gen car debut. I think that'd be really cool. All right, so we covered that. Some news here. So as I'm planning to go to Indy as well, Tony Stewart has announced he will run the NASCAR Xfinity Road Course race at Indianapolis Motor Speedway on the 4th of July this year. So as for someone who was at the 2005 Brickyard 400 and saw Tony Stewart win, this makes me really excited that Smoke gets to come out and drive in a stock car again. Thoughts?
Yeah, just coming from a huge Smoke fan growing up, I'm so excited to see that, especially considering I'm probably going to be there. I mean, I am so excited to see him get back behind the wheel.
Same. Yeah, I'm planning on being there too, so I guess we'll both meet up and check that out.
Yeah. I'm planning to be there pretty much the whole week. I'm going to be running the BC39. Hopefully the ARCA race will happen. And I'll stay for the NASCAR races.
All right. So, all righty, we're definitely looking forward to that, and I'm sure Tony Stewart's going to be a heavy favorite to win that race. Let's see here. So, some news actually popped out this morning. A lot of people were talking about, the big name drivers that could be free agents at the end of this season. We're already discussing 2021 silly season here. Well, you can check this driver off the free agent market. Ryan Blaney has signed an extension with Team Penske, so it looks like he's going to be there for the long haul. Obviously, he's off to a great start this season. been a lot of discussion about him and Keselowski and where they could possibly put Austin Cindric if he's ready to move up. So what does that mean, knowing that, okay, Blaney's resigned? Is anything going to happen with Keselowski?
Well, certainly you got to, I think it might, because, they've got Austin Cindric coming up through. I think he'll probably be ready for Cup at the end of this year.
Yeah.
And just knowing all the change that's going on at Penske, and knowing that Brad may not be okay with that, or he may not be meshing well with it, definitely makes you think maybe there's some truth to the rumors that he could be taking over the 48.
Yeah.
I definitely thought of it as a far-fetched announcement, or not announcement, but, rumor. But, as the season goes on, it seems like there's a little bit more fire to that. So,
yeah,
I really I can't really say what I think it's going to happen just because I don't know enough. But, it definitely makes you think.
Right. And obviously it's too early to tell. I was talking to some people on Discord. Some of them even think that Keselowski could go to Stewart-Haas Racing, which I'm not so sure on, because I firmly believe Chase Briscoe's in the 14 next year. Firmly believe that. I think Keselowski, I think it'll, especially I could tell the crew chief change I felt like was going to negatively impact Keselowski the most. And then you saw the issues that he and Logano had during speed weeks, not just the clash, but that one wreck during the 500 as well. So, yeah, you can't help but think that, there could be a big change in the Penske camp that we haven't seen yet, but obviously we'll not know for quite some time. We'll know probably into the summer, maybe into the fall as the season progresses. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to shape down, because I agree. Cindric's going to be ready to move up for sure next year. Alrighty.
Yeah, and by the way, interesting development I just saw. Apparently they said that during practice, I guess right as Xfinity practice was beginning, Noah Gragson was actually called into the hauler and was reprimanded by NASCAR for his incidents over the past couple weeks.
Oh, wow. Okay. I won't lie.
Yeah,
I don't practice on
Adam Stern that first reported that. I think they said something about it on practice coverage.
Okay. That's interesting. So Noah Gragson got called to the haulers?
Yeah, apparently he did.
Wow. Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah,
okay,
I'll say this, you win Daytona, but the rest of the season so far has not been that impressive. He took out Snyder at Las Vegas, which, just in case anybody's going to call me out on that, look at the video. He took him out. Then, of course, he wrecked last week at Auto Club. That one was a bit questionable. And I guess NASCAR definitely thought it was enough that, they had to do something about it.
That's interesting. Okay, so definitely some interesting developments going on in Phoenix. Speaking of developments going on in Phoenix, guess who's back on the track? Not in the car, but it is great to hear. Ryan Newman is back. He's at the track at Phoenix. Quote from him, quote, "It's great to be alive." And there's no timetable for his return, but he seems to be smiling, feeling pretty good about things. Watching the video here, just super, super thrilled. And by the way, did you see the picture of him, Corey LaJoie, and Ryan Blaney last night on Twitter?
I saw that.
That put a humongous smile on my face. That is so cool to see.
Yeah.
So, once again, stuff going on in Phoenix while we're doing the show here. I'm super thrilled for Ryan Newman to be back on the track. There is no timetable for his return. As I've said before, I think he has all the time in the world to take it easy and come back when he feels like it's right. Toby Christie just put it out. Noah Gragson forced to the NASCAR hauler during the start of Xfinity practice. So that's a little concerning. It says here he was getting strapped into his number 9 Nationwide Children's Hospital Camaro. When he was alerted, he needed to visit with NASCAR Xfinity Series director Wayne Otten in the NASCAR trailer before he was authorized to take a lap around the track. He's had a very dramatic last couple of races. As you said, it looked like, Gragson intentionally spun Mike Snyder to a fourth-place finish. Last week, he went up the track and wrecked Ross Chastain. So NASCAR said that they have seen enough and decided to send a message to Gragson. Again, this is from Toby Christie. You eventually, of course, get back on the track here. So looks like NASCAR is just telling Gragson, you better cut that out. So that's completely understood there. All right. The last thing we do before we cover or preview for Phoenix.
Yeah, okay. Actually, before that, there's something I do feel like we missed. So last night, this broke out. Brian France is unfortunately back in the NASCAR news. He has apparently filed a lawsuit against the owner of the Drunken Brian France Twitter account. Which if you're active on NASCAR Twitter as much as I am, of course you follow him. I just think this whole thing is so damn funny.
It is.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing that up. I almost forgot to bring that up. So yeah, Brian France is suing a parody account of Brian France, which
and just so you know, I took law classes in college. He has no case in this. It's a parody account. It's protected under First Amendment laws. There is literally a lawsuit between Jerry Falwell and Hustler Magazine over this. I mean, if they go by what the law says, this case is going to get thrown out, first court.
Yeah, I took a communication law class as one of my journalism minor classes in college, and they talked about that. How they talked about parodies are protected under the First Amendment. So I'm just like, you're literally against the right of freedom of speech. And you want an example of people doing? There's all sorts of Twitter accounts that are parodies of famous people. I'm pretty sure there's like 20,000 of them of Donald Trump, probably. I've listened to Bob and Tom.
You're probably lowballing it with that.
My bad. They've done parodies of people and stuff, so it's just like, come on, what are you doing, Brian? So
that's just how he's trying to stay relevant.
Yeah. Because I know he kind of, I think before the 500, he kind of just called out, talking about how people were constantly complaining and everything. Well, Brian France, no offense, dude. You were driving NASCAR into the ground a little bit, my friend.
And then you did something that could have killed yourself and other people. You endangered the public, and now this is bad. I mean, come on, just go crawl into your little cave and just stay there and don't mess with NASCAR again, please. Yeah,
we
don't need you here.
Yeah, he's got his. I don't know. I forgot the name of the company. He's got his own little company now. He should just focus on that. It's just ridiculous, honestly. There's really no need for Brian France to do this. He's just damaging
This is like
himself.
a new level of petty. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I saw your picture that you posted. The back of that Richard Penny Enterprises car that said 1-800-B-PETTY.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a good reply to that. So.
Yeah, I put that in a group chat I've got with all the NASCAR YouTubers, and it didn't seem like that really seem like that got through to most of them. I guess they don't. I guess they weren't aware of the whole be petty thing.
Yeah, but it is petty that, no pun intended, that what Brian France is doing here. So, yeah, I think this is just going to get tossed out the window, and we're going to forget about it. Probably laugh at it later on.
Yeah, I think Vargas said new level of petty. So.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. So McLaren, or Arrow McLaren SP has acquired the 48 from Dreyer and Rainbow Racing to use in IndyCar races. And Jimmy Johnson will have the number 48 on the car that he's going to test at Barber next month. Because Jimmy Johnson has kind of said that he would like to try racing someday in the Indy 500. So perhaps we could see in the future, maybe not this year, but next year and beyond, maybe Jimmy Johnson will give the Indy 500 a shot.
Yeah, I doubt he'll try the 500 just because he's been pretty vocal about how he doesn't like the oval racing with the series. I think he said he would only do a road course. But, yeah, maybe seeing him do one of the more prestigious road or street course races like Long Beach, you definitely see that in the next couple of years. Maybe even this year if the opportunity arose.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, I think you make a really good point there because I actually do remember Johnson talking about IndyCar shouldn't be doing oval races, like right after Dan Weldon fatal crash. Yeah. So I think I remember him saying that. Besides that, I think that about covers everything in terms of all the news and everything and all the shenanigans that's happening. Oh, what fun it is in 2020. All right, let's get on and preview Phoenix. We got the ARCA race tonight, I believe. And then we got Cup Series and Xfinity Series this weekend. So you wanna preview the ARCA Menards race real quick?
Yeah. So I'm kind of expecting one of the West Series drivers to kind of shine out just because this is the track that they're used to. So maybe somebody like Michael Self, who has a ton of experience with this sort of track, and probably Haley Deegan, because she's also got that experience here. Could definitely expect them to probably stand out of them all. I think a lot of the ARCA Menard Series regulars are going to struggle with this, just because that's mainly a Midwest Southern Series. So this is a track that's completely unique. There's no track like this, out here. So I definitely think those guys are going to struggle. So the West drivers who have experience here are the ones I think you're going to see stand out. I know you have Ty Gibbs, who won this race back in November, I believe. Like I said, you also have Michael Self and Haley Deegan. Other than that, I don't know who else I could really go into, just because it seems like a lot of the other drivers have no experience here because they kind of stopped going here for a few years. So the Bill McAnally squad, I don't really see them, being able to stand out among them, just because they've got a bunch of rookie drivers who've never seen this track before. So I could definitely see them kind of playing it safe, I guess. They could prove me wrong. I'm just saying I'm not necessarily expecting them to have a grand showing like they usually do. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm going to say on the ARCA race.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I like Gibbs, Self, and Teagan for sure. Those are probably three drivers I would probably pick to win this one. So it'll be interesting to see, especially how some of these guys learn a track like Phoenix, because as you said, there's not a whole lot of tracks in this kind of configuration. So I think a lot of these guys are going to learn, or a lot of these ARCA guys, they learn these tracks, they learn how to run. Especially for a driver like Deegan who's learning these bigger tracks and learning to drive on the asphalt more. So I'm looking forward to seeing how things net out there. So that's tonight, Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 1. Next up, the Xfinity race. Who are we liking here?
I would probably say somebody. Honestly, I'd want to go with Ryan Sieg, just with how he's been doing. I mean, he hasn't just been putting in underdog performance like he kind of has the past couple of years. So far, right now, this season, he's been championship worthy. So if you ask me, I would definitely say he's going to get his first win this season. But, besides that, I would have to say Justin Allgaier, just because Junior Motorsports always seems to kind of shine here. And you also got the JGR guys. So you have Raleigh Herbst, Harrison Burton. Those guys could definitely put in a good show. Of course, you have Chase Briscoe, too. Just how he's been doing all year. So Center Race is kind of a crapshoot. Kind of sucks I'm not going to be able to watch it because I'm going to be racing in DuQuoin tomorrow. I'll definitely be following along with it on Twitter and everything. So
all right.
See how that goes.
Just to let you know, Brad Keselowski and Kyle Busch are in this race. So I'm going to go ahead and just say one of those two are probably going to win.
That's right. Yeah, I totally forgot they are. Yeah. So Kyle Busch, there.
Yep. He's back. He's using number 54 again, and he's driving the Twix Cookies and Cream Toyota. So a little bit of a different Mars brand on the car. So I'm looking forward to seeing that.
I actually thought that car looked really nice.
Oh yeah, I agree. So I might have to pre-order a die-cast for that. So Ross Chastain was also fastest in first practice, for the Xfinity Series. So, I'm going to go with, of the Cup regulars, I'm going to go with Busch. And the Xfinity regulars, if one of them wins, I'm going to go with Allgaier, to be fair there. Lastly, we got the NASCAR Cup Series at Phoenix. And, of course, this is going to be interesting because, of course, this year, when we go back there in November, it's going to be the last race of the season. It's going to host to the championship weekend. Some drivers that I'm liking here. I like Chase Elliott in this one. I like Denny Hamlin. I like Kyle Busch. And I like Ryan Blaney. That's my pick for Phoenix.
Okay, yeah, that's probably a good one to go with. Just how good Blaney's been this year. Honestly, I'm also going to have to kind of throw Kyle Busch into that just because it seems like this has always been a track that he kind of stands out at. So it's always hard to not go with him. Also, just for the same reason, Harvick, this is probably his best track. So you've always kind of have to throw his name in the ring whenever he's in.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Harvick's had a really good history at Phoenix. I'm glad you brought that up. Alrighty, so those are our picks for Phoenix. You mentioned you're racing in DuQuoin. You want to give an update on your racing career before we close things out?
There honestly hasn't been much that I can report on. We might have something pretty big in the works. I can't really get that into it. But yeah, like I said, racing at DuQuoin tomorrow. It's with the USAC series. I'm really looking forward to it, getting back behind the wheel. First race with all these new sponsors I got, so it'll be a good one. And, looks like Corey LaJoie just hit the wall.
Oh, goodness. Oh, jeez.
Replay right now. Oh, that almost looks like a cut tire.
Yeah.
But yeah, just hoping we can put in a good showing tomorrow. This race has been run only 4 times, and all 4 times it's been a first-time winner. So I kind of like those odds. Have to see if we can kind of capitalize on the sort of equalizer event we got. Just try not to make a mistake, because the way this track is, it's easy to do.
All righty. Besides that, do we have anything else left to cover?
No. I think that's just about it.
All righty. So we're going to go ahead and wrap things up here. I want to thank everybody once again for listening to this week's episode of the Dropping the Hammer Racing Hour here on The Grueling Truth, where legends speak. From Michael Klein and myself, Alex Gray, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you guys next time.